The brand story, it started really, when I was growing up. In my household, we were raised to be, culturally aware. My father has always been a huge proponent of pro-blackness and, just staying aware of our connection to the motherland, and just always pushed me to pursue a greater awareness and understanding of how we can contribute to the struggle and how we can help and be a part of a greater a movement that's greater than ourselves. You know what I mean? When it comes to civil rights, revolutionary action, and things of that nature, activism, that's always been a part of my upbringing. My father, I grew up listening to Malcolm X, The Ballad or the Bullet, like on a record player. These are the times I'm growing up in. So, I always had, a certain sense of, pride in myself and, in just the culture itself. But, as time went on, we're pushed in the direction typically to, pursue college and, go out and, get a job and things like that, which are totally, fine. That's how my family was able to survive and sustain ourselves, for generations, is, just putting ourselves in a position to be able to provide for our families. But, I knew that for myself, that wasn't the path I wanted to go down. I wanted to be able to provide and secure, a financial future for myself. But I wanted to be able to kind of take a different direction with that, and I wanted to take more control of my outcomes. And going down the path of entrepreneurship is really what allowed me to be able to explore that opportunity. So that's where my mother comes into play. My mom and my dad are married, to this day, which I'm very grateful for. I have a solid foundation, because of that. But my mother, she always had me involved with extracurricular activities, trying to help me find, find that thing that I could, take hold of. And for me, it was just business. It was, just figuring out ways that we could, create new avenues of access to capital for ourselves. And, especially as a man, it's important for us to be able to produce and provide for our families. Yeah. And, it's a real point of pride for me to be able to say that I'm working, 100% for myself. Yeah. And I've been able to actually do just that. So, that was something that I had dreamt about, and I really wanted to be able to attain that. But I tried so many different things. It didn't start with fashion. Mm-hmm. I've tried, multi-level marketing opportunities and network marketing schemes. And, even when I was in high school and junior high, I was selling like bootleg Rolexes and watches and things like that.
I don't know if you said you were born and raised in Philly?
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah, yep. Well, actually, so I was born in South Philadelphia, spent time there as well as West Philly, and then we moved to Yaden.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to high school and everything out there in that area.
That's Delaware. That's Delaware County. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and but yeah, like I said, we're going to school out there. I wanted to, even though I had a job, at some point, like working at Chuck E. Cheese, being the mouse in the suit and everything, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like, that wasn't enough for me. So I'm up here, finding different ways to make money for myself while I'm doing that. Yeah. Like I said, I was selling Rolex watches and Movados and things like that. I'm selling, like, obviously these aren't real, but it's like people want the look and they're paying for it. Yeah. We in high school, who could afford these watches? But people were buying them. So, it just was, I learned about supply and demand back then at an early age. So, just having those valuable experiences early on really helped to give me a foundation that I could build on in my adulthood. So having these experiences, just doing business with people and, understanding the value and good customer service and catering to people and giving this is something my mom always says, you got to give the people what they want.
Right.
It's like the customer, the customer is essentially your boss.
Yeah. They're
the ones who tell you what you need to do.
Yeah.
So, it's like that's something once again that I had to really learn early on. And that's one of the keys to my success. It's just really customer service and catering to the people who I'm serving. So but just going through those times, but eventually making my way into the fashion industry, just through different opportunities that I took advantage of. Back in 2011, that's where I really jumped into the fashion industry. Okay. And I was working with a model and talent search agency, finding new talent. And
is this in Philly? Or?
No, this was so it started in Philly.
Okay.
But it was a traveling operation, so I was actually going from state to state with them. So I spent time down in Virginia for a couple months. I spent some time in New York for a couple months. I spent time down in Florida. I was in different areas where they were scouting for talent. Yeah. And they had people, young, vibrant people with personality that they were recruiting, like myself. So, I was able to take part in that opportunity, but that really gave me an inside look into the fashion world. And that kind of really opened me up to the opportunities that could be there. It's like fashion is how we communicate so much through the things that we wear. And, a lot of times that might be the fashion statement that you're making may be the only statement that you can make to someone because they may never see you again. Yeah. So, the clothes that we produce, through my company, I keep that in mind now. It's like I'm aware that, look, we're in the business of, establishing connections. Yeah. With my brand, we're in the business of, really helping people to connect to the culture. Yeah. No matter where they are. So it's like, you could be in a space where it's just you with your Hella Black, Hella Proud shirt on. But it's like somebody else who also identifies with that ideology, they can see you and know that you're a brother man. They like, oh yeah. Even how y'all got the one Jollof shirts with the fist on it, it's like, okay. If I'm walking down the street, I know I can, there's a certain ideology that we all can connect on. So, I feel like those are important aspects of the culture that can sometimes go overlooked. Yeah. But really, when it comes to business and marketing and everything like that, they make all the difference. So yeah, I've learned a lot just through a lot just firsthand experience. Yeah, yeah.
So how soon after you started working with that talent agency did you start your company?
Okay, so I started working with them in 2011. Yeah. I didn't actually create my own fashion brand until January 31st of 2015.
Okay.
So I spent that time really learning the craft. From that point, I was really just gaining the knowledge and the insight and the awareness that was necessary. When it comes to being a master at a craft, they said, you got to have 10,000 hours. Yeah. So, over the course of that time, I've put in my 10,000 hours. I did that in a variety of different ways. I was working with this company, but then after I quit working with them. Yeah. Because I quit working with them because I felt like they were no longer serving my best interests. And that's something like that motivation that I felt to go ahead and step out on my own and quit. That was actually one of the last jobs that I ever had where I was working for someone else. But it's like I got the knowledge, the insight, and the experience. Yeah. But it's like I also was aware of these racial dynamics that were aware within the company. You know, I'm not working for people who look like us.
Right.
I'm working for these people who, you know, they just look at me as a commodity.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is somebody with personality. We need him to do our thing and get and bring in the talent. So that's what they're using me for. But beyond that, they have no use for me, or no. You know, I didn't feel like they valued me.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to stay anywhere where I don't feel valued. You know what I mean? So that's what motivated me to move on and step out for myself. And I really, I don't want to say I thank them for that experience, but I mean, that really was the catalyst that kind of, you know, caused me to move on to the next chapter of my story.
Yeah.
So I started working with other brands, people that I knew who were starting their own fashion companies at the time. So now I'm learning about the business of actually ordering inventory. I'm learning about how to actually screen print on shirts. I'm learning about heat presses and different equipment that I wasn't really familiar with before, because I was just, you know, more so learning about the fashion industry itself. But now we're getting more specific and learning about what it takes to create and produce these things.
Yeah.
So even you know, just on this low level or entry level that I was operating on, you know, I'm getting some type of experience that I was able to use, you know, even to this day. So I worked with 2 other fashion brands before I actually created my own. So that was really, once again, I'm seeing trial and error. I'm getting some really valuable experience, you know, just how to interact properly with customers, handling money, handling complaints and things like that. Just all the whole gamut of issues that you can encounter. You know, I was fortunate enough to go through those things, but, you know, not with my company. You know what I mean?
You know, it's always easier to connect the dots looking back.
Yeah.
You know, and when you look at your story, when you were going through, you know, let's say working with a talent agency and then, you know, working with or partnering with friends and other people who knew were doing dope things. What was your thought process during that time? Was it, you know, what were you intentionally thinking, this is a great opportunity to you know, add value to people around me while gaining these skills, or how were you just thinking during that time?
During that time, what it really came down to for me was this is it for me. Like I'm doing this almost out of a sense of survival. You know what I mean? It's like, if this is what I've got to do to, you know, figure this thing out, if this is like, I had no idea how it was going to play out. You know what I mean? I just knew what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. It's like, this either this has to work or it has to work. You know what I mean? It was no plan B. I'm not about to go and be filling out applications again. You know, and I was willing to, you know, take that risk. And, you know, I even resorted to move back into the house with my family. So once I had moved out, you know, and that's like a point of pride as a man. You know what I mean? You move out, strike out on your own, start creating your own path for yourself, living in your own space, managing your own money and everything like that. So, you know, at first that was kind of like a hit to my pride. It's like, man, I felt like I was taking a step back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm regressing in my progress, but, you know, like, even in that time, I had to, you know, just remind myself, it's like, look, be realistic about where you are and understand that this is a necessary step that you got to take. It's like, you know, you kind of like, you think about, like, maybe it's like a slingshot or something. I mean, just pull it back a little further, so when it's time to go, you know what I'm saying, you can pop off properly. You know what I mean? So that's really what it came down to, is like just get my perspective right about it so I could be at peace with what I had to do and move accordingly. So like once I, you know, was able to kind of take this stress and pressure off of myself by moving back in with my family, and that's something that I'm really fortunate. Like, and I value that ability to have a family structure that I can lean on, you know, in a time where I really need to basically like I was in like an incubation period. You know what I mean? Where it's like I'm figuring things out. I've got my format. I know what I want to do. Yeah. I just need time to get it right. I just need time to set it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that was another key for me. But really, I had no idea that, you know, the brand that I have today would come out of all of that. I really was trying to do, you know, any number of things, just trying to figure out what was popping, you know, trying to figure out what are the new trends and everything. But really, what all brought it to a head for me was, you know, like around the time of Trayvon Martin, when his whole case popped off, and you know, the whole hoodie movement happened, and people were wearing hoodies everywhere, and you know, it was just like I had never felt anything like that. I had never been a part of anything like that in my adult life. So that struck me. It's like, yo, this is a movement. Yeah. This is powerful, and it's greater than any one of us. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like this case was the catalyst that kind of woke a lot of people up. It's like, damn. Like they really don't love us out here, man. Yeah. Like they really don't. They really don't make these laws to benefit us. You know, it's like, wow. Like we need to represent ourselves unapologetically. We need a voice that really represents our true interests. Right. We need to be able to express ourselves without fear of retribution. You know what I mean? We need to be able to do it and just do it to the fullest extent. Yeah. And you know, one of the ways that we do that is through acts of protest and things like that. But also, you know, I look at protests and then I think, how can I bring that current? How can I, you know, because those are like movements from the 60s. When I think about protests and picket signs, I always think back to those times. You know what I mean? But it's like, how can we bring this current? And that's where the fashion aspect came into play for me. Was like, okay, let me put it on the shirt. Right. So you don't have to walk around with a sign. You know what I mean? Let me put on a shirt. But I didn't know what I wanted to put on the shirt. So that was the dilemma that I had once I started going down that path in 2014. Okay. So I'm still working with this other brand. And
Trayvon Martin, what year was Trayvon Martin? That was 2012?
Yeah, 2012. Yeah, so it's like over that course of that time, I was trying to figure out how can I encapsulate like what I'm feeling? How can I really truly express the essence, you know, like in like a concise but powerful way, you know what I mean? But it didn't come until January of 2015. Okay. Where I was inspired by the football player Marshawn Lynch. Yeah. And you know, just his defiant actions as it pertained to during the time of the Super Bowl when you know, they were, you know, trying to keep him quiet and they didn't want him to be himself. They were trying to make him stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever the case may be. You know, they want him to stand for the Star Spangled Banner. They want him to do all these things. And he's just getting fined and he's being defiant. But it's like, as a black man, like I'm looking at that like, yo, he's not letting them run him. He's owning his space. He's owning his time. And he's like really taking agency and ownership of like his body and everything that he's going to do with it. So it's like, look, y'all could find me, y'all could do whatever you want. But what really, the phrase that he said during a press conference where he saw another black man in the press conference, a reporter, he recognized him. He said, "What's up, African?" And I found out later that that's like saying "What's up, African" is actually like a cultural thing out in California, like over in the Bay Area and things of that nature. They have a cultural awareness out there, because of you know, the time of the Black Panthers and you know, everything that was established through them. All the movements that they had, classes and all these things like that. So there was a lot of literature that was making its way to the families, to the people in the streets. So they had this awareness, okay, a connection with Africa. So we draw, like, you know, we draw attention to that by being intentional. What's up, African?
Right.
What's up, African? It's not, oh, what's up, nigga?
Yeah.
What's up, bro? What's up, African? That was so powerful to me because it's like the intention was there, and I had never heard that before. So I'm like, yo, that's it. That's it. And when I went on Facebook that night after he said that, all I saw were people sharing that video, like that little clip.
Yeah.
They just sharing it. And then I saw people were hashtagging it. What's up, Africa? I'm like, yo. And then I'm in the comment section of a post, and somebody's like, yo, if somebody put that on a t-shirt, I would buy it right now.
Yes.
And I'm already making t-shirts at my house. So I had the equipment. All I had to do was just come up with an idea, come up with the design, and I could make it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Like, I put my phone down instantly, went and created the What's Up African template, and made the shirt because I had everything in the house that I needed. Like, I had the vinyl cutter, I had the heat press machine, I had the program on my computer to actually design things so that I could cut it out in the vinyl. So it's like I was just set. It was like the perfect storm. And you know, I came up with that design within like maybe a half hour of seeing that post, put it back out there, and as they say, the rest is history, because that night, now, like I said, I worked with 2 other fashion brands before that moment, before I started that. And I was still working with one of them at the time. But to that point, I had never made the amount of money that I had made in that one night. I had never seen anything remotely close to that working with those other brands. And that was just one night, the first night of me creating the What's Up African t-shirt. I'm like, okay, we got something. So it's like, you got to go through these periods, you know, where it's like, it's not about the money right now. I had to learn the business. Of course, having sales and all that stuff, like having more sales would have been great for those other brands. But I did what I could. But it's like, you know, just understanding what is necessary to be successful, what is necessary to get people to spend their money with you. So just going through that experience, I understand now the separation between, you know, the average person, you know, getting in the business and the people who are successful. A lot of times it comes down to the quality of your experiences. It comes down to the quality of your experiences, but also the quality of your network. You know what I'm saying? And then just like your personal creative abilities. You know what I mean? Like your drive, like those things that can't necessarily be accounted for on paper. You know what I mean? It's a combination of these things. So, you know, I even have to catch myself sometime now when we're talking, you know, like there's this big push for people to become a business owner and jump into these things now. But it's like, you really got to manage your expectations. So that, you got to manage your expectations because it's easy to look out and see the successes that other people are having. And it's like, okay, if I do what they're doing, I'll get what they have. But we, you know, you got to understand that that type of thinking, it is reasonable, but you got to be sure that you're not skipping steps in the process. Like you got to go through each chapter of the journey. Don't try to skip to the last page. You know what I mean? So, you know, and that's what a lot of people do. And they end up experiencing these deep disappointments. There's friendships and, you know, like family bonds that are broken over a lack of support or something like that. People feel like, you know, their family members should be supporting them more, or they feel like, man, I used to shop with you when you were selling this or selling that, and now you can't buy nothing from me, or you know, it's like people get into this tit for tat type of mentality, and it's really when you like that's because you don't have a true understanding of business. You know what I mean? It's like the first order of business is to make money. Any business, first order is to make money. But it's like understanding what's necessary. You got to have something that people actually want. You got to have something that either that they want, or you got to make them feel like they need it. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're not able to convey that message, if you're not able to get people to that point with your product, then you're fighting an uphill battle. So it's like, even before you go down the path of, you know, like really hammering down and saying like, this is what I'm going to do. You got to test and retest. You got to understand who your target audience is, and then, you know, how, like, what do they want from you? Like, what, like how much do they make? Like, it's like creating a profile of your ideal customer. This is something that people don't typically do. You just, I like that. I'm gonna do it, and people are gonna buy it. But it's like, who's gonna buy it? Who are these people? How are you going to reach them? How are they going to find out about you? You know what I mean? It's like, that's where your marketing comes into play, but also your branding. You know what I'm saying? It's like, marketing is what you say about your company. Branding is what other people say about your company. So it's like, we got to get these things aligned. You know what I mean?
But hold on. You're saying a lot. You're saying a lot. And, you know, we don't want to skip over some of the points that you've been making here. And I also want to give, I know Sekou has some questions too that he wants to ask. But
again, we have Chief Ron in the house today. As you can see, he's dropping a lot of gems. So thank you for joining us. So Chief, I think you actually brought some of your apparel here. And I wanted to say, you know, this is pretty dope. You keep talking about making sure like you are knowing your audience, so knowing who's gonna buy your apparel. So you made something so hella black, hella proud. This is a hell of a statement. So what was going through your mind when you wanted to sell a product with this statement? Was it a part of you that were like, there's some people out there that was gonna be like, whoa, like this is gonna come off a little bit offensive, or there gonna be some people who gonna be receptive. It's like, or you just decide like you want to put this statement out there and see what happens.
Man, I love this question, because really that is like a huge obstacle that in my own mind that I had to overcome. It's like, this is something that one of my good friends always used to say. It's like, you're trying to think for two people. Just think about what you can do and how you can affect change in people. Like the people who gravitate toward it, the people who like really identify with it will show themselves. But you gotta put it out there first. I'm up here trying to, you know, think about, oh my God, you know, because when the Hella Black, Hella Proud shirt came about, that was maybe so January 31st 2015 when I dropped the What's Up African shirt, and that's all I had up until May of that year. And but people loved it. People loved What's Up African. But now it's like, what's next? Like, is this going to be the only shirt that I make? Like, am I just going to do like this shirt but just a bunch of different colors?
And with that What's Up African, you talk about how you know that was during that time. Was it you know, what was it?
I'm gonna answer your question.
Was it, you know, was it digital? Like what was going on at that time?
All right, that's a so. All right, so it's perfect, because you're the answer to this will roll right into the answer for yours. So I mean, with What's Up African, when I first started that I didn't have a website or anything for it. It was just a T-shirt that I could make myself. So it's like I set up a PayPal account that night. And what I started doing was, the people who were inboxing me, telling me they wanted this shirt, I'm just sending them my PayPal link. And then I'm telling them, send me your name, your email address, and your mailing address. Once your payment comes through, tell me what size you need, I'm shipping it out. So now I'm just copying and pasting this same message to people. Email, shirt size, mailing address, email, shirt size, mailing address. So I'm just like all the people, because it was like a crazy influx of inboxes. So I'm just copy and pasting the same message to all these people.
Yeah.
So that's how I was getting it in. But now I'm sitting here with a notebook, like just real grassroots level. I'm like got a notebook and I'm just writing down all these email addresses, sizes, and mailing addresses. So like I think I might still have the book at home. Like that was like my first order book. You know what I mean? But it was just page after page after page after page of these orders. So now I'm getting into the space where, okay, I made the shirt. Like I made one, but now I've got like 100 orders. So now I got them, and it's like, it's not just one shirt per order. It's like multiple shirts. Yo, I need one for my whole family, bro. I need, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh shit. So like, you know what I mean? I had to really like get into my logistics bag. Like I had to like really, the logistics started like really playing a role. And when I started doing that and understanding how things had to move and operate, you know, smoothly, this is where my family came into play. So after things start popping off, you know, and I'm making this stuff in the I had set up in the dining room of the house. So I've got my heat press in there, and I've got like my table laid out with all the shirts and things on it. So I'm just in there making shirts all day and all night. So my family, they can't help but recognize. They're like, hey, what's going on? Like this thing is popping off. You know, like, so now I'm getting help. So now it's like now I've got like a built-in team. It's like mom helping me out with emails, responding to customer inquiries and things like that. Maybe if it's sizing issues or something, you know what I mean? Like I've got my sister, she actually began to learn how to press shirts and things like that so that she could assist me and everything. Also like, you know, folding and all this stuff. My other sister, my younger sister, she was able to, you know, assist with that aspect.
The whole family operation.
So it really, it's like this organic thing that kind of just started like with just one shirt, one night, you know, where I'm just, you know, I was just online and all of a sudden this thing popped off. So now, that was how the first few months went. When May came around, I had already designed the Hella Black, Hella Proud shirt by May. I think I had the design for it in like mid-April, but I was afraid to bring it out at first because of some of the things that you said. It's like, I don't know if people are ready to make this kind of statement. I don't know if people will be comfortable wearing something like this. I don't know. You know, it's like there's so many of us who have, you know, where our lives and relationships intersect with all types of people. You know what I mean? Where you can't help but be around some white people sometime. You might have some white friends. You know what I'm saying? You went to school with some, whatever the case may be, but you still feel very black. I still feel very proud and attached to my heritage. You know what I mean? So it's like, is there space for that person to express that without fear of offense? You know what I mean? It's like, and if that space is not currently present, it's like maybe we need to create that. Maybe we need to explore that. Maybe I need to stick a wedge in there and open this up more. Let's bring this conversation to the forefront. Because we got all this Trayvon Martin stuff that was happening, you know, from a couple years before, and now this cultural awareness and so-called wokeness is starting to kind of infiltrate the society, but it wasn't where it's at now. Where it's like, it's commercialized now. You know what I mean? Wokeness is like commercialized now. So just looking at where we were in 2015, you know, where it was very raw and kind of unadulterated, like where the kind of the new generation of people kind of were able to take hold and start to figure things out for themselves as it pertains to cultural, civil rights movement, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Up till now, where it's been co-opted by all these large brands and things like that. And, you know, you've got Target and Walmart and, you know, Amazon and all these other types selling us the culture. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. Before, you couldn't walk into a store and see a shirt with a black fist on it. But now, you could go into a Walmart, You could go into Target
Yeah.
and see a black power fist on a shirt.
Yeah.
Like, we did that.
Yeah. I mean, even when you look at, let's say, you know, like Black Panther, and you talk a little bit about the West Coast, but I know a big thing with that before that I got made was, is that something that can sell?
Yeah.
You know, and not even just sell in the country, but sell worldwide. And then it did numbers that no movie had ever done before after the fact. So it's I mean, black culture, one is global, but black culture in a lot of ways drives if we're gonna be honest, drives the world.
Yeah.
Like, it drives the direction that the world goes in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very, very, for real. Like, that's a very true statement, because a lot of the things that we do are like foundational.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to, you know, just like what the marketplace does, like they respond to a lot of what we produce, like the things that we say. Even like when you look at TikTok, for instance, like they just had this whole thing where black TikTokers were refusing to create new dances because they were not getting credit for starting these movements.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, there were like new songs that were coming out that almost were begging for a dance to be created, but there were no dances coming out for them. Yeah. So it was very obvious the footprint that black creatives have made in this space. You know what I mean? So, you know,
and I know you mentioned, you know, this idea that now and in recent years we're seeing a lot more people starting to get into business, seeing a lot more people starting to get into entrepreneurship. And on one hand, that's very, you know, we see it as being very trendy, but then on the other hand, it's very important too, because black people have been producing for so long, you know, producing for so long, but not having the ownership to go along with it, not having a stake in what they're doing, and we're still seeing that, but we're also starting to see a shift. So, you know, I just wanted to highlight that, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
And I think another question that I have too. This is a little controversial too. Some people might view you, Chief Ron, as someone who is trying to monetize on the culture. You might portray yourself as just someone who is about the people, trying to as the shaker, or you're about the culture, you're trying to help people. However, but it's also like you're making money off of it. So what do you say to those people?
So what I say to them is really the way that this world operates. It's all about ownership. It's all about ownership of what you're doing. And if I'm making the efforts, if I'm putting myself at risk, if I'm putting myself out here and doing things that others won't do, like, then there's got to be some type of compensation for that. And even when it comes to the conversation about revolution and things associated with that, there aren't any revolutions that occurred throughout history that weren't financed. Like, somebody had to have the bread.
That's very true.
For the things that had to take place. So, and the thing is, if you follow the money, whoever is sponsoring you, they own you. Whoever is putting money behind your operation, you at some point are going to be beholden to their wishes, to their ideas about how you should be operating. So I feel like having a sense of ownership in this sense, or in this instance rather, is infinitely important, because like who should be getting paid? Who should be capitalizing off of my efforts, if not me? You know what I mean? But the great part about what I do is that my efforts, it's already set up where my efforts is built in to benefit the user. Yeah. It's built in to like where it's a mutually beneficial relationship. You get something and I get something. You know, and this is in the spirit of you know, where we come from, the great trade-off, the barter system. You know what I mean? It's like Look, I mean, like if you have a product that you're bringing to the market, there's a cost associated with it. So like somebody has to pay the cost, and that's what it comes down to. And I don't feel any issue. Like I did battle with that at first, though. Like that, like what you said, I battled with that within myself because I'm trying to figure out who am I becoming. Now that so like maybe after I've been doing it for a year or two, and you start to see success and you start to see growth, it's like. It's very easy to lose yourself in that, where it's like you just you're more focused on the business than the foundation that the business is built on. You know what I mean? Which is the cultural aspects and the organic relationships that you build with people and the activities that are associated with making this thing move forward. But that's where I was able to. I had the ability to fuse these two things together where I didn't have to question myself so much. It's like, look, let me be deliberate in my actions. So my work in the community speaks for itself. The things that I've been involved in. And that's really also what helped my brand to grow is by me putting myself out and amongst the people, being involved in grassroots organizations and, different various operations and movements that were taking place in the city. Based on what was going on in the cultural climate. So, like I started actually with a few of my comrades. We actually established a weekly event that ran for almost 4 years, called Rbg Fridays. And Rbg Fridays is based around the Pan-African flag, red, black, and green, RBG. So we were just. Our idea with that was to give the city of Philadelphia, the people of Philadelphia, like a sense of cultural pride and give them something that they can attach themselves to that was created for them, like specifically. Like that flag was created because there was a time where the black men in America didn't have a flag. Like we didn't have anything that represented us. And because many of us are separated from, our tribal and cultural identity in Africa, we didn't have a flag to fly. So I mean, we're forced to identify with the American, ideologies, but we know they weren't established with us in mind. So I just us taking initiative and doing that. There was never anything done like that in Philly. Rbg Fridays. We're out there on the corner every Friday. In the middle of the hood, like we're on Broad and Girard, where people are like being affected by all of the stuff that we are fighting against, poverty and racial injustice and disenfranchisement from the system, and like people who are the leftovers and people who are forgotten and everything. We're out there in the midst of them purposely, so that we can give them like some sense of identity and pride and give them something to look forward to. So like I had to get real deliberate and purposeful with my actions so that I can make sure that I'm maintaining my integrity.
Right. And I want to sort of push you to unpack this a little bit more. So you start making apparel and you have this very powerful message that sort of like focus on like building black pride, building on like some sort of like this wokeness about like the culture, basically like telling black folks or anybody who associated with being black that our representation matters. However, so there seems to be some sort of gap between like Africans and black. So as someone who is like you trying to push this sort of message, black is beautiful, black is powerful, but then there's also some African might just see you that you might try to sort of like take the African culture and trying to sort of like commercialize that. So how do you see yourself? What do you say to people who just see themselves as like, oh, we just African and like, so we're gonna sell African market, like African clothes, and those black people just say like, you're just taking our culture. So, and there's this conversation going on out there. Like, where do you see yourself in between these two group of people? Or do you see all of us, Africans and black, being one people?
So
That's a lot to say.
No, I'm with you.
I'm
with you. I'm with you.
Okay.
Because that's a conversation that I've had to have, since the inception of my brand. But that's what I loved about it is the conversation that we could have because of it. So, imagine me, this light-skinned black guy running through the city of Philadelphia with a shirt that say "What's Up African" on it. And I'm owning it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm out here and I'm not just wearing just the t-shirt. If you look back at some of my social media, it's like I was going in. It's like I'm purposely going to African marketplace, African vendors, making sure that I'm getting authentic things that come from the motherland. And also, now let me find out where I come from. Let me see where my DNA strands lie. Like, where do I have the most influence from? What country? Yeah. You know what I mean?
You working with African vendors when you were making the apparel?
Yeah. So just working with them as far as having like accessories and things. Okay. So having the neckwear, having the wristwear, having the pants, just whatever way that I could fuse it together. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we do share culture. We do share a lot of things, amongst us, a lot of similarities amongst us. You know what I mean? Just the way that the way that we do things, the way that we move, the way that we operate in our family settings. The fact that like we have a matriarchal culture, like where mothers typically are the head of the household. You know what I mean? It's a lot of like respect given in the black family to the mother. You know what I mean? And we give that same respect to the motherland. You know what I mean? So it's like just really working to make these connections more normalized for like people like myself who haven't felt a real connection to Africa. Yeah. Because there aren't a lot of Africans, like continental Africans, who come over and try to welcome us. So it's like somebody has to be the one to do it. You know what I mean? And somebody's got to be intentional about it because it's not happening. Yeah. So like having these conversations where it's like, well, I'm not African, because that's what people have said when I was selling the shirts. I'm not African. It's like, what makes you not African? Like everybody African. Like if you want to be real, I mean, where did they find the oldest bones? Like where did they find the earliest human remains? Like where do you think we come from? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like we got to start being realistic about it. You know what I mean? Like you may not be comfortable with how it sounds or the ramifications associated with it, but it's like we have a human story that we got to be true to. Like, look, you African. You know what I'm saying? Like you're Americanized. Yeah. But it's like this. You know what I mean? Like they say, like you don't take You can't take a zebra and raise it amongst horses and now it's a horse. Like it's a zebra. Like regardless, you know what I'm saying? You like I say, you just can't take something out of its environment and because of that, it becomes something else. It's just displaced. Yeah. It's just been removed. It's been kidnapped. It's been stolen. It's whatever. It's been removed with a purpose.
That was very powerful, man. Thank you for sharing that. You're dropping a lot of gem here, and I hope that our viewers are sort of taking time to dissect everything that you are sharing with us. Thank you again, Chief Ron, for coming on our show, for sharing your wisdom and knowledge and experience, and for being authentic and real in yourself. So we love your apparel, and I'm sure so many people out there do. So let's just get on to a lighter question here.
All right.
Let's back up a little bit. But yeah, Key has any lighter question for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we definitely want to touch upon the apparel itself, and how your process for it. And so, well, first of all, how was Hella Black, Hella Proud received when you decided to put it out? I know you said that was a conversation within yourself. How was that received when you decided to put it out?
So I decided to put it out because, so first thing I did, I had to wear it. I wore it out. I wasn't driving at the time consistently, so I was on the bus and I was on Uber a lot. So I'm out in the public more, so I'm able to, I'm walking around, I'm seeing people, I'm like kind of gauging their response, like, I don't know about y'all, but typically when you're dressed you know, like people just walk by you, like you know what I mean. Generally, like you know, even if you're looking nice, like you got like a fly outfit on, people generally just tend to walk by you. You know what I mean? Like you're very aware of yourself. Like yo, I'm popping today. Like this the shirt that always work. Like you know, these are pants that always go. Like you know what I mean? But it's like people generally just walk by you, and especially in Philly, like people are just making their way to their destination. Then we also got a culture here that tells you not to be Joe. Don't be hype. Don't be.
Also, not to cut you off, but people in Philly are very honest.
Yeah. They're very blunt and straightforward. But it's like the one thing is like, don't be hype. Don't be Joe familiar. Like don't like just. So it's like with that comes like this thing where, well, I'm not going to compliment you. Even if I like your shoes, I'm not about to, yo, bro, the shoes is dope. Like that's because you too hype. You hype, calm down. But it's like, when I started wearing hella black, hella proud, I started noticing the response was different. People had to say something to me. I had people come from across the street, like they'll cross the street to get to me to find out where I got the shirt from. People was coming up to me asking me, yo, bro, like that shirt crazy. Where did you get that? Like, cause I was intentional. I put the fist on the sleeve. You know what I mean? And I've got everything kind of just laid out in this format that makes you just. This shirt is unlike anything else that you've seen. Yeah. So when I started seeing the response, I'm getting like, all right, I need to go with this. So what I did was the Roots Picnic. Okay. The Roots Picnic in 2015. I'm like, yo, I was just on some guerrilla marketing type stuff. Yeah. I'm like, yo, I didn't pay to be a vendor here, but if there's a way I can go down here and vend and market my shirts, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So I went down there. I had a tent. Like a tent that I could set up down there and sell my stuff under. And I took a table, a tent, and a bag of shirts. Yeah. And just went for it. Right outside the gate of the Roots Picnic, like where the people were going in. That's when they were having it down in Penn's Landing. So I was right outside of the entrance, and that day I sold out of every single Hella Black, Hella Proud shirt I brought. Wow! And once again, that was another milestone because out of all the vending opportunities that I've had working with these other previous brands, I always was leaving events with a bag full of shirts. I still had inventory left. This was the first time where I've stepped out and I was cleaned out by the end of the day.
That's something to really highlight because when it comes to the space you're in, I think in 2021, in the last few years, there different ways now to be able to, let's say, start selling apparel and even make the process of creating apparel easier to sell. But 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it was a lot harder to do that, and that's what you're talking about right now. And so I know that, let's say when you're working maybe with a talent agency, and then when you're working with other brands, you picked up a lot of those skills, and then even just maybe talk a little bit about the business side, ways that I'm sure was able to help with like profit margin and whatnot. But can you, for people who, let's say, are interested in starting their own apparel brand, what's some highlights? What's some advice that you have for them? But then also, what were some pain points for you that you had to be able to get past that these other companies you had worked with and were contributing to, weren't able to get past in the way you were.
Okay. Yeah. I would say for first time business owners, there's so many things that you got to be mindful of, but one big, huge point of insight I can offer is the importance of your email list. Your email list is where your value lies. And I'll tell you why. It's because your email list is what gives you access to your customer base. Your email list is like your entry point for any sales, any marketing, any type of branding information that you have to pass on, anything that you've got going on. If you're doing an event, if you're going to be going live tonight, if you're going to be going live tomorrow, if you know, whatever the case may be, having that access point to your customer base is like of the utmost importance. And this is something that I missed out on, you know, with the other brands. Is just that ability to connect with the customer, making the organic connection, and then having a way to maintain it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I was with What's Up African, I was able to start off with that information. So every event that we vend at, we have our table full of shirts and other accessories, but we also have we're doing a raffle. And to enter in this raffle, all you gotta do is give us your email list, and you can win a free shirt. So just put your email right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just put your email here, and then we'll let you know if you won. And the thing is, nobody has to win.
Yeah.
I just wanted your email address. Like I don't have to pick a winner. You know what I'm saying? But it's like people will give you their information.
Yeah.
Like if they have a reason to, you know what I mean? So people like offer it up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could strike up a conversation with a complete stranger. All you got to do is ask them the right question, and they'll just tell you their whole life story.
Yep.
So people will give you their information.
Yeah.
We, as a business owner, you got to be willing and able to take advantage of that. It's not about doing anything underhanded or taking, you know, like really trying to, you know, like do any harm to your customer. Yeah. It's just, look, you don't realize how much you need me in your life. So give me your email address and I'm going to let you know. I'm going to show you what we got on sale this week. I'm going to let you know what we got coming up next month. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's talk a little further. Yeah. So it's like, but it's easier to do that when you meet people face to face.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's something, and I definitely, another thing I encourage first time business owners to, that's cool, I'm not drinking any, but encourage first time business owners to do as many live events as you can. You know, to really get an idea for, you know, like the type of effect that your products have on your customers. Like you can get real time feedback from your customers, like, oh, I don't like that color. Could you do that in this color? Maybe could you make that shirt in a V-neck instead? Or could you, you know, like whatever. There are different ways to like capture data that can be very helpful going forward, especially early on. So utilizing all these opportunities for access to information is like a key for new business owners.
Yeah, those touch points, you know, being able to, you know, or making sure that you're talking to people, you know, you're building those relationships, and you know, you highlight the importance of the email list too. And I think, you know, because something else you mentioned a lot earlier in the conversation is the importance of managing expectations. The importance of going through the different steps. And I think, you know, when it comes to, let's say, managing expectations, for instance, understanding, let's say, like how email lists work, that like you can't have 10 emails and think you're gonna, let's say, get conversions on the product you're selling. No. So can you talk a little bit about that aspect of it? Like, you have email lists, you got a product that you're looking to sell, but the conversion rate, that's another part of it.
And that's something, I mean, even to this day, this is something that you're always contending with, is your conversion rate and what you could be doing better to increase it. So it's like it's a constant process of just, you know, tweaking and adjusting, you know, like your marketing scheme. And that's something that myself and my team, we've been working on for sure. But you got to understand that when it comes to marketing, people generally don't buy or shop with you the first time that they see you. They're not going to, typically. Now, like, you know, that day that I had with the What's Up African shirts the first day. That was like an anomaly. You know what I mean? That was an exception. But I would never tell people that's what you can expect anytime you have a drop. Yeah. The same thing with my Hella Black, Hella Proud shirts. The first time I ever sold them, sold out. That's not typical. That is not typical results. That was just because of the profound nature of the product. Yeah. Like, you know, the novelty of it all. It's like, I have never seen that before. So unless you've got something that's like that novel, where it's like, what is that? Yo, I need that. Yeah. Like, you know, unless you're hitting like that, you can't really come out expecting anything. You've got to understand that it's a process. Like, just like with you know, if you're, as a man, you're getting to know a woman, you can't just expect to get right to it unless she just really on you. But it typically don't go like that. Not for the average guy. We got to work. You got to, let me get your number. We'll talk. We'll text a little bit. I'll send you a good morning text and everything. You know, maybe we'll meet up later, go out for a drink. I'll drop you off at your house respectfully. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to ease in. You got to work it. It don't typically just happen like that. So it's just the same way with your customers. You got to work it. You work your way in. You got to let them see the benefits of dealing with you. They've got to be like, oh, okay, I actually like that. Yeah. Dang, and your products are quality. Like, oh, okay. Dang, oh, and this celebrity's wearing your brand now or whatever. So it's like all the things that you're doing on the marketing side. You got to be, you know, you got to make sure that you're doing things that people are going to care about. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like making sure that you're like hitting on these points that will make somebody pay attention to you. So yeah, typically it takes like anywhere from 8 to 16 times from the research I've done to get somebody to, you know, even follow you or, you know, begin to go to your website regularly. Definitely. And then to get around to actually transacting and spending money with you.
It just sounds to me like it's all about being intentional. You know, and also just listening. It just sounds to me that, and I think one of the key to your success is, Chief Ron, you're very much aware of your audience. You're very in tune with like what's going on the ground. And I love how you sort of like your sort of a business trajectory or way is about, you start everything with you. You start wearing a shirt, you know, yourself. Like we always say this, like, and Aki and I always talk about this. If we're gonna host an event, like, well, this is an event that I personally want to attend to. So it sounds like you taking that same personal. So I love how like everything that you do has this personal touch to it. Yes. And then it's just like take off to a whole new level. So
that's very important because people are buying you. People are buying you. You know, especially like, you know, you got a new business, unless your business is just like strict your system. Like unless you're running an operation like that, people are buying you. So it's like you have to be able to, you know, be the brand, like man the brand. Like you got to be the one, like showing people. That was a major thing for me. I got to show these people how like dress it up because it's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt company. Everybody's doing t-shirts. So if you're gonna wear the What's Up African, then you got to have the African piece to go with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the African link to go with it. The hang down. You got to have the, you know, the wristwear. You got to have the, you know, it's like making it like it's an experience that comes along with it. And it's like, I'm ready. When people see you, it's like, yo, I'm ready to embody that. Like I want to look like that. You know, so having that understanding and awareness about the brand, like my brand elements, it's like, okay, that's what y'all like. I'm gonna give y'all everything Hella Black, Hella Proud. So that's why, like the first sweatsuit I did, Hella Black, Hella Proud sweatsuit. First swimsuit I did, Hella Black, Hella Proud. You know, even down, like I've had wristbands, I've had I've had athletic gear.
Yeah.
I've done the like the Hella Black Hella Proud like full athletic set for ladies, top and bottom look, even down to the socks. Now we've got the Hella Black Hella Proud socks. We've done now even before we brought the actual headphones, we did the AirPods. Like we did the Hella Black Hella Proud Power Pods.
Yeah.
So these are so in these joints people love them because once again it's like that thing we touched on. It's a novelty. Like there's nothing like this. There's no other company. There's nowhere you can go and get some wireless AirPods with a black power fist on them, and they actually work. Like they're good quality.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So that is just being mindful that people love this. So I'm gonna make sure y'all get this.
Yeah,
like in every way and shape and form and fashion. And so moving into the now we call them the Vibes by Tribe, and that's just a little play off of the Beats by Dre.
Yeah,
it's like my headphones was the Vibes by Tribe. So having Hella Black Hella Proud on those headphones is just further solidifying that as like this is gonna be a household name.
Yeah,
like I want this on everything. Like you're gonna have coasters for your table with the emblem on it. You know what I mean? Like along with a glass set. You know what I'm saying? A plate set with this on it. Like all of that is coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So really just like taking the branding, like just to the next level, like to like just as far as we could take it.
Yeah.
Now, and that rolls us right into the Hella Black Hella Loud. So we know that so cannabis and CBD is a big market. Like this is a multi-billion-dollar marketplace that a lot of for years the story has always been that white folks, this is their arena.
Yeah.
We get arrested for it.
Right.
They can sell it openly and honestly and get paid millions of dollars for it. So this has always been a thing, and the changes that have taken place in recent time and the people who are in position to help push the culture forward really have opened up the floodgates of opportunity for people like us, where we can find access points to be able to enter the market.
Yeah.
And that's what I was able to find working with Cannabis Noir and the owner Sheena Roberson.
Yeah, shout out to Sheena, too, who was a guest on our show, and for linking us too, because she was one who actually set this up. And so we're happy
man,
for that.
Shout out to her, and congratulations to her on her new child.
Oh newborn mother.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But even through the pregnancy, through everything, she's working, and she's really been helpful in this process of getting me acclimated to the cannabis marketplace, to the CBD marketplace, and we're developing a product line now. So giving Black people an unapologetic voice in the cannabis market is what we're doing with Hella Black Hella Loud.
So now, is that line in? Are you working with Cannabis Noir on that line, or what's that? Yeah.
So the that's the dope thing about what Sheena is doing with Cannabis Noir is really helping people like myself create opportunities for ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And giving us the ability to provide agency for Black people in an arena that we've been largely shut out from. She's really given us like a structured approach to it.
Yeah.
And that's really what a lot of us need is a structured approach to to business period, but especially to the business of cannabis, because a lot of us have some type of foundational knowledge about the industry, but to be able to have like that information that will allow you to be able to conduct conversations in a business setting. That's what a lot of us need. You know what I mean? And that's what Sheena and Cannabis Noir are providing for myself and Hella Black, Hella Loud,
Right.
is just really giving us
that platform. For everyone to thrive. So, which is powerful.
I know we're we've been going for some time. Do you have time for a couple more questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask. Just my last question is, we always ask our guests this question. It's like, I just want you to imagine, I would say a 13-year-old version of yourself. Because when you're 13, that's when you everything around you just start going crazy. A 13-year-old version of yourself sitting in front of you right now, given where you are and what you know, what would you say to him?
Wow. Man. Wow, that's an interesting question right there. I think what I would say is like, yo, stop caring what they think. Like, just do you. Stop caring what they think and just do you, bro. Like, you put too much stock into what your friends think about what you want to do. Like, just do it. Just do it, man. Like, for real. Like, if it's in you to do it, like, pursue it. Because it wasn't placed there for no reason. Like, this desire that's in you, like, there's something like that you're being drawn to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you allow the voices of people who have no idea what's going on with you, that you allow their voices to kind of drown that out.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. So I feel like, it's just instilling that confidence that, like, yo, you know best too, man.
Yeah.